Hello, everybody. Um, we all know that horror films kind of come in cycles. Um, right now, it's in a paranormal haunting type um, things that are popular. And right before all that became popular, zombie films were the hot thing. Well, um, back in the 70s, two of the biggest cycles were like occult, satanic stuff, like the Exorcist or the Omen, and animal attack type of things, like like Jaws. Um, they they both spawned a whole lot of imitators, and by the time the early 80s hit, it was all kind of tired and done, which brings us to 1981, Jaws of Satan. It actually tries to combine the two sub genres, and it gives us a satanic animal attack story. A circus train is traveling through a rural part of the south, when the devil decides to possess a king cobra that is traveling on the board. It proceeds to it proceeds to use its satanic snake telepathic powers and open its cage and kill everyone on board the train. It 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 and then it enlists the aid of the other local uh, snakes to terrorize the town. But the devil snake, it's not just after the general mayhem. It's got a very specific goal in mind. See, the priest in the town comes from a long line of witch hunters, and his family has a curse on it going all the way back to Saint Patrick, and it's coming after him. And two, while this is all going on, we also have a pretty young female doctor and her hunky herpetologist love interest, who are also trying to get to the bottom of things. We know that he is a herpetologist because the doctor keeps on telling people, this man is a herpetologist. He's kind of like a bargain basement Marjo Gortner. He looks kind of lacking, and it's the kind of part that he would have had. I guess they couldn't cough up the extra $500 and to get the actual Marjo. And of course, there is an evil mayor who is trying to keep everything all hush hush. He is about to open up a dog racing track, and he doesn't want the bad publicity. And that kind of ties in with one of the things that I like about this movie. It's all so familiar and comforting, almost. You know, the greedy mayor, the priest who is having a crisis of conscience. It's all so familiar. There is a scene where the doctor goes down to the morgue, and the coroner is there taking a nap on the autopsy table, and I thought, I bet he starts eating something. And sure enough, as he starts giving her the update, he pulls a chicken leg out of his coat pocket and starts gnawing on it. And you know, stuff like that, it's so tired and it's so corny, but I love it. I just had to laugh. And speaking of laughing, there was a point early on in things where I just knew right then that this was my kind of a thing. In the opening part on the train, after it gets out of its cage and stuff, the Cobra, it comes face to face with this guy. It bites the guy right in the face, except it doesn't, because what they did is they had the guy here, they had the Cobra here, and they took a piece of glass and they put it here so that the guy couldn't actually get hurt. Except they didn't clean the glass off. It's got all kinds of spots and smudges on it that show up on the camera. And if that didn't make it hard enough to suspend disbelief, when the Cobra lunges at the guy, it hits its head on it, and the camera actually picked up that big old donkin sound. And of course, that is the kind of clumsy, meat-headed thing that I just love. Another scene has the doctor and the herpetologist talking about his motel, and she tells him that his motel is just called the motel because it's the only motel in town. and so it has a sign up that just says the motel. But about 5 minutes after that, he is seen running out of it. And not only is it not a motel called the Motel, but it's a kind of nice looking hotel, and there's a shot where the actual name of the hotel appears, and it covers almost the entire screen. Now, it's pretty obvious what happened is that the people who made the film, they made a deal with that hotel to put up the actors, and they would give them some advertising, except they were too lazy to actually take all that dialogue out. It doesn't make any kind of sense. You know, I think of that kind of thing as a positive, but I think most people would probably think of it as a negative. I know that I'm kind of an oddball, but even I wasn't totally in love with every minute of it. It tends to be kind of scattered. I think the biggest problem, apart from a lack of talent, the biggest problem is that it has too many protagonists. You know, you have the priest on one hand, and then you have the doctor and the herpetologist on the other. And the two, they don't actually even hardly interact with each other up until the big ending, and even then it's so we have to watch people figure things out 2 times, and it kind of drags things down. And of course it could have had more snake attacks, but you know, this is the kind of thing, the more animal attacks that you have, the better. You know, I think most people will just see it as ridiculous garbage, and it kind of is ridiculous garbage, but it's my kind of ridiculous garbage. I just have a soft spot in my heart for this kind of thing. And one final thing, if you do happen to watch it, keep an eye out for a very young Christina Applegate. This was her very first acting part, and she is the mayor's little girl who shows up as adorable snake bait. And so that's about it. As always, thank you for watching, and let me know what you think. Bye bye.